G'day homesteaders, it's John Green here. I've got a special video for you, especially for the people who are thinking of moving all the way to the Irish Isle, the Emerald Isle, the land of, I think there's 40 shades of green, 41, I don't know. Anyway, before you move to Ireland, I've got 5 top reasons not to move to Ireland. 5 reasons not to. Don't worry, I'll balance this with the top 5 reasons that you would. I mean, I've done it. It's not quite a year, but it's been quite a few months that we've been living in this town. We spent a few months in another town. We're getting a general feeling for living here. But here are my top 5 reasons that you wouldn't want to live or move to Ireland. If you already live here, you love it, I'm sure. It's great. I'm going to talk about that while I deal with some of this renovation that has to happen. Okay. The number 5 reason that you probably don't want to move to Ireland is because of the location. Ireland is far away from everything. It is literally an island, like you didn't know that. So getting anything will have to almost be delivered. If you're not talking about lamb or wool or Irish potatoes, then just about everything else gets transported into the country. So some things that you expect are not going to be here, not on the west coast. You know, basic things like a vegan restaurant. There's one that I know of. It's in Sligo. It's called Sweet Beet. It's excellent. So there's one vegan restaurant in the town of Sligo. Of course, I don't expect them to be everywhere, but one to service over, I think, 19,000 people in Sligo. And internet. Getting internet was really difficult at the beginning because of the location. You know, because you're in the countryside, because you're on the west coast, you're not really a priority, so the companies don't have all these hard lines out everywhere for everyone to get the best cable internet. We just still have DSL internet. We're dealing with it, and hopefully, you know, they're going to upgrade to something a bit better in 2020, which it is. It is locked down officially. I'll show you the project I'm working on. I took off some wallpaper, and under the wallpaper was lots of other wallpaper, old wallpaper, that was very, very moldy. Pretty gross. And I left it for a few days so that it would dry out and then kind of just fall off of its own accord. When it's all moist, it kind of sticks together a lot better. In Australia, we've got this thing we call the tyranny of distance. That's reason number 4 you probably wouldn't want to move to Western Ireland. The tyranny of distance is, well, you know, it's an elaborate way of saying you're far away from the action. When things are happening in the world, you're nowhere near it. When big things, big events are taking place, you're going to hear about it through the news or read it in the newspaper. You know, it's not really a relevant place to be. Moving to Ireland, I've noticed, at least for old English people, it's a place to retire. The west coast of Ireland attracts a lot of retirees, and unfortunately, I'm only 45 this year. This year I'm 45. I probably look a bit rough for 45, but still. I'm young compared to the people around here, and that includes the whole town. The town we live in has about 3,000 people, maybe 3,500 people, and I'm considered a young'un. If you're not in school, you're somewhere else. You know, the people that are in their 20s don't really exist here. they're in university, or they're in Dublin or Galway or in a big town making money, you know, or studying or doing something like that. Yeah, it's far away from everything. Oh, look at that. The cat left me a little present. That was nice. I wonder how long that's been there. It looks like these boards have been wet before, as if the water has come in from outside. We'll have to tend to that. Everything that can come off has to come off. As you can see, I stapled the wallpaper into place because it was really all peeling off and I didn't want a giant job on my hands. I figured this portion between the two windows is as big a job as I want to do in this room, because there'll be a cupboard in front of this anyway. All this plaster's coming off. I just take everything off. Whoops. There, now you can see what I'm doing. Just taking everything off that can come off. You can still see it looks moist underneath. Last thing you want is a moist wall. But in this 100-year-old house, every wall is a moist wall. Alright, reason number 3 that you do not want to move to Western Ireland. You don't want to do it, buddy, because if you're like me and you've got a teaching qualification that's recognized worldwide but not here, then you're shit out of luck trying to find a job as a teacher. Their qualifications are quite different. They're like English qualifications, and they're different to the qualifications that I have, which are actually international. So I haven't been able to get a job as a teacher, which means every job that you will be doing as an unskilled labourer will be for minimum wage. Whether you're delivering pizzas, or you know, serving tables, or working in a warehouse, or even working at super value or stupid value, as we like to call it, you're always going to be getting minimum wage for a very long time. So minimum wage here is €9.80. Some companies try and say how good they are by offering you €10.10 or €10.90. It's neither here nor there. The minimum wage is €9.80, and almost every place will offer you that at least for a few months when you first start, and some companies will offer you that basically the whole time you're there, like the place where I'm working now. Minimum wage, not much work, only part-time labor, and not as a teacher, so it's not in line with, you know, all of my the things I really hold dear to me. It's not a career, it's a job. That's a pretty good reason not to come, unless you've already got money. If you've got money and you want to come here to retire, or if you know, you're a dope man and you want to stick a house somewhere where you can have a retreat, great. You know, Ireland is a great place for people with a lot of money. It's the 5th richest country in the world per capita. All they do is put wallpaper on top of wallpaper. So the lowest level of wallpaper here could be 100 years old. It could be. Look at this. I don't know if you can see the detail, but it's like some kind of chalky stuff coming out here. This is all mold related. It's quite gross. Alright, so I gotta get rid of everything. Oops. Stick that there. Got to get rid of everything so I can paint it over today. I've been using this special spray which kills mold. Of course it's poisonous because it's got like ammonia in it or bleach or something. And this is what I've been using. Of course you can use, I think, white vinegar. Spray some white vinegar on the wall. That'll kill the mold. Alright, for me, at the beginning, years ago when my wife and I first started talking about moving to Ireland, the number one reason in the past, the number one reason was the weather. And you know, people talk about the weather like, ha ha ha, 4 seasons in one day, you know, it rains every day, blah blah blah. It's true. Yes, it's sunny right now. It could rain later on. I think my wife and I counted 60 days of rain every day. Not continuous days of rain, but 60 days in a row where it rained every day. Which is pretty upsetting for some people. But that's to be expected in the middle of winter. But what I don't know is, you know, this is a nautical environment, and that's something I'm not familiar with. So the weather in the nautical environment, or nautical climate is the right word. It rains a lot more because it's by the sea. You can actually hear seagulls in our backyard. But after a while, you know, in Austria, I was doing ice-cold baths, not baths, ice-cold showers. And because of that, I felt like I was really strengthening up my immune system for when I finally come to Ireland and it's going to be cold all the time. What was interesting about that is that it turns out, if you live here long enough, you just automatically adapt to the weather. So, you know, we've been here... Yeah, okay, maybe like 9 or 10 months. Maybe 10 months we've been here. And in that time, it's been cold so much and rained so much. We've gone on many outings, out in the rain, out in the cold, on the beach, on the mountain. That now, when it's 10 degrees, it feels like it's 20 degrees. And when it's 20 degrees, it feels like it's getting very, very hot. Today we're expecting a heat wave of 18 degrees. Sure, a lot of people will be out and about walking their dogs, even though it's quarantine. It's verboten. But of course you can do it within a 2-kilometer range of your house. Anyway, you can see what I'm doing today. I've got my day's activities marked out. Alright. I'm gonna be painting this in about an hour. Just film a bit more of the destruction. Oh, okay, low battery. The number one reason not to move to Ireland is this one here, the mold. The number one reason not to move to Ireland, especially if you have allergies, is all of the houses are moldy. Caravans are moldy, sheds are moldy, garages are moldy, attics are moldy. There are no basements because they would be flooded. mold is very, very, very prevalent in this country. Under all of this is a lot of mold. Under the layer, I'm sure every layer of wallpaper has mold on it. So then in some cases you might have 6, 7, 10 layers of wallpaper on top of each other, all of them moldy. So it's not good. I unpacked the base of the piano. It had mold growing on it too because it was out in the garage. The top part of the piano was in the house, which was dry, but everywhere in the house has mold. It's a 100-year-old house. I'll quickly try to show you what happens if you try to paint over mold. This was not me, but someone tried to paint enamel paint over the top of existing mold, and the mold just keeps growing underneath the paint. Don't do that, guys. Don't paint over mold. You have to spray it with some white vinegar or something else, some bleach, or I don't know, something that's going to kill mold, alright? And do a proper job of it. Under this, I don't even want to scratch it off, but I'm sure it's all dark and grey or black under there because of the mold that's growing. So the number one reason not to move to Ireland is it's moldy. It's great if you have a mushroom farm. Not so great if you've got something more delicate you've got to look after, like musical equipment. Don't live too close to the beach, everything will be destroyed. You've got to live a few kilometers from the beach, or everything that is metal will turn white or rust. Alright, that's my advice for today. I'm not being negative, I'm just telling you 5 reasons not to move to the west coast of Ireland. Thanks for watching. My name's John Green. I'll finish this job and I'll get this bugger painted. Thanks. Subscribe today if you haven't.